New Mexico has the most alcohol-related deaths per state in the United States. Around 51.2 out of every 100,000 New Mexicans have died per capita due to alcohol-related causes, and in second place is Alaska, with 41.1 deaths out of every 100,000 people per capita. The national average is 27.9. There are 2.085 million people living in New Mexico, meaning around 581.715 deaths per year. This is unimpressive compared to other tragedies where a greater number of people have died in much less time, but it is a tragedy nonetheless. The numbers can never do justice to the tragedy because you can't measure a person with numbers. You can't number the tears between sobs when they all float together in streams, and you can't number the drops of water in the ocean. The human soul does not have a number. I first realized alcohol was a problem when I had to avoid my father in my own home, and when my mother had to avoid him as well. He was verbally abusive in his drunken state, which was most of the time in his last few days. I realized that alcohol was a disease when it killed him. He was sleeping, snoring more heavily than he usually did. He was struggling for air. Then came the paramedics with their stretcher. They loaded him into the ambulance, and a few minutes later we followed in his own car, an old Jeep with a Grateful Dead bumper sticker on the back. Minutes later, we arrived at the hospital. We waited a long while, a few hours if I recall correctly, before he passed away. We visited the operation room where the doctors did everything they could. I wonder if he'd lived through this, would he have learned his lesson? What had really just happened? Was it intentional? Was it my fault? The questions didn't come all at once. Grief is an inferno that leaves one empty. Grief is a slow burn that fills one with ashes where once there was something solid. Grief will always be there, but it cannot defeat you. There was always life beneath the ash. Grief can only come with change, and the best thing we can do with change is make it for the better.